The Real Housewives of New York City is a cornerstone of the franchise, and Ramona Singer has been there since the very beginning. But over a decade after the show first aired, her daughter Avery has practically grown into a different person. Here's what this 20-something is up to now.
I don't know where the time went. It just seems like yesterday she was like this little girl.
In 2008, Bravo aired the second series in what would soon become the thriving Real Housewives franchise. Hot on the wheels of the success of The Real Housewives of Orange County, the network moved its attention to the East Coast, and there, on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, fans met the Singers. Although 12-year-old Avery obviously wasn't a main player on the soapy reality show, she made frequent cameos alongside her mom, Ramona. And thanks to her often hilarious responses to her mother's histrionics, the preteen quickly became a fan favorite.
When I'm with my mom and she's with her friends, it's usually fine, but sometimes it gets a bit out of hand and it's embarrassing.
In 2017, Ramona noted her daughter's journey on the show, sharing, "You know, it's very interesting to see how Avery has evolved from the show. When she first started filming 10 years ago, she was 12 years old, this little skinny mini. Now she's taller than me." The idea of having a camera crew track your every move isn't exactly appealing for most people, but when your family stars on a show like Real Housewives, there's no way to skirt the drama. And when your mom is as outspoken as Ramona, that's doubly true. Still, despite all the buzz surrounding the show, Avery seems to take the circus in stride. She told Alloy in 2010, "Personally, I don't think it's major. We think of it as a documentary, or just like one of those home videos. My friends are my friends. We never talk about it unless I bring it up, which is rare." As for how the show depicts her family, often portraying her mom in a polarizing light, Avery shrugs that off too, adding, "We're like completely different people, and also they edit you a certain way. They edit my mom to be this certain type of mom, but they don't show all her colors." Avery interviewed her mom for Gen Connect in 2012, and she didn't pull any punches. When Ramona brought up her wine brand, her daughter was quick to ask whether she had made a decision about which wine she planned to launch next. Ramona responded, "You sometimes put more pressure on me than I put on myself. But if you think about it, it makes perfect sense that Avery is sometimes the loudest voice in her mom's head. After all, her mom is the one who gave her such a strong one." Ramona told The Daily Dish in 2017, "I never talked down to Avery ever. I never talked to her as an authority. I always gave her choices. I always spoke to her as an intellectual woman. And I always included her in whatever I was doing in business. And I exposed her to it. So she has a really great head on her shoulders." Divorce can be particularly devastating for the kids in the family. Add that to a life in the public eye, and the windfall could be even worse. But by all accounts, Avery handled her parents' split with about as much grace as a person could hope for. In 2014, her dad, Mario, got caught up in a messy cheating scandal with a much younger woman. After being outed, he promised Ramona he would end the affair immediately. When he didn't, Avery offered some wisdom beyond her years. Ramona recalled to People in 2014, "My daughter even said to Mario, 'If you don't want to be with mommy, then do the right thing and split up.' She's angry at him. It's upsetting."
Inside, it feels like my world has fallen apart.
While Avery didn't say much on the record at the time, her consistent support of her mother was obvious to fans. And according to her mom, she has since forgiven her dad.
I want to go to a good college and have a good job and be able to make a lot of money for myself.
When it came to college, Avery discovered that just because you start at one school doesn't mean you can't finish somewhere else. When rumors began to swirl that she was no longer attending Emory University, Ramona took to her blog to clarify Avery's plans, writing, "Avery had made a decision to transfer to the University of Virginia from Emory. She thought a bigger university with a very accredited business school would better suit her interests and long-term goals. UVA also offered the option for a dual major, and Emory did not. But Avery didn't take the big decision lightly, and Ramona respected that, adding, "I can't even begin to tell you how proud I am of the young woman she is blossoming into." Just take a glimpse at any photo of Ramona and Avery, and you'll start to think you're seeing double. And it's not just because Avery inherited her mom's natural beauty. It seems Ramona passed her love of fashion on to her daughter, too. In fact, Avery's sartorial style has developed so much over the years and is so similar to her mother's that they essentially share a closet when Avery is home. In 2011, when the pair hit New York Fashion Week, Avery explained, "We share clothes. Usually, if she wants more, like, hip clothes, she'll come to into my closet and take my clothes because we're around the same size. Sometimes I'll come home and I'm like, Mom, you're wearing my sweater and my shoes and my pants. Like, what are you doing? It would have been easy for Avery to lean into the comforts of home during college and beyond, but she is a young woman who isn't afraid to spread her wings. Ramona revealed that her daughter would be taking off for an adventure of epic proportion after getting her diploma, telling the Daily Dish, when she graduates, she's going to Asia for a month with her friends. The trip wasn't the first time Avery had gone international either. Ramona explained, I took her on a trip, just the two of us, to London and Paris, and our last night in Paris, she said, you know what, Mom? You're not just my mom. You're my best friend. And that just gave me goosebumps. It's hard to believe, but our little Real Housewives of New York girl is all grown up. Avery graduated college and entered the workforce, and, to her credit, she wasn't content to simply rest on her parents' laurels. It was the wise words of her mother that led Avery down the path toward finance. Ramona explained that Avery had always been success-minded, telling the Daily Dish, Avery said to me, Mom, I really want to be very successful financially in life, so what career should I pursue if I wanted to be very successful financially? Ramona then suggested 3 fields: finance, real estate, and computer technology. Avery chose the first because she's into numbers, just like her mom. Decades into the reality franchise, many OG Housewives kids are now adults and courting just as much attention as their famous parents. Some take to the fame well, while others shy away from it, preferring to live life under the radar. When she stopped by Watch What Happens Live, Avery opened up about a time when the show actually made her college life more complicated. She said, I remember when I transferred sororities, one of my friends, who later became my roommate, was like, I heard she's mean. There are negative connotations about being on reality TV. Still, she clearly considers her mother to be an icon of the franchise, sharing that her favorite Ramona quotes are calm down, take a Xanax, and, you know, that thing about being an acquired taste.
I'm an acquired taste. You don't like me? Acquire some taste.
Most college grads might be happy just getting any gig after school, but Avery isn't most kids. As she shared on Watch What Happens Live in 2021, the New York native nabbed a role at Cameo, where famous and semi-famous types charge fans for personalized messages. Her mom has a profile on the site, as well as Avery herself. The Real Housewives breakout confirmed she left her position in finance after a 4-year stint to cover sales for the growing company. Avery was thrilled to be working remotely during the pandemic, especially since it meant she would be spending extra quality time with her beloved dog, Coco. She shared, we get to hang out every day, and that's why I think Coco's still kicking. As expected, Ramona fully supports her daughter in whatever she does, noting in 2018, a lot of people switch. You start one career and you switch to another, but as long as she's happy and as long as she's passionate, I always say you have to love what you do to be successful at it. That's all that counts. As we are all painfully aware, the rich and famous certainly didn't handle the 2020 quarantine the same way the rest of us did. Well, most of them anyway. Despite having millions of dollars and presumably more than one lavish property in which to confine herself, Ramona chose instead to hunker down with her ex-husband Mario and Avery.
Of course, we never expected we'd be here now, day 17, but so far so good.
Speaking to Glamour in 2020, Ramona said the emotional closeness, at least, was par for the course, remembering that when Avery was in college, they kept in regular contact. She said, we would call each other every day, FaceTime each other as she's walking to class. So enduring the lockdown together was a piece of cake. According to Ramona, a typical day involved Avery working remotely, a stroll down the beach, dinner with Dad, and then watching Game of Thrones. During an episode of Spilling the Quarantine, Avery revealed she and her mom were actually sharing a bed at one point, describing them as, quote, hardcore roommates. Hold up, did Avery and FedEx really have beef? In July 2020, Page Six reported that Avery was spotted having an argument with a group of FedEx employees while attempting to move out of her West Village abode. According to the outlet, an eyewitness alleged Avery got upset after they refused to pack her items, which reportedly included more than 10 storage boxes, a cardboard box, and several garment bags. When she was reminded that FedEx isn't actually a moving company, it was rumored that Avery hit the roof. The reality star star was said to have stormed out, leaving her stuff for staff to handle. But did any of this even happen? Avery's rep claimed the incident did not occur as reported, saying the story was, quote, extremely exaggerated. Reportedly, Avery had shipped items from the FedEx store before, but this time they didn't have the right size boxes, so she had to contact a different company. Yep, that's it. According to Reality Blurb, Avery also took to social media to set the record straight once and for all. She shared a number of Instagram stories referencing Dumbo moving and storage, and she even got coffee for the employees tasked with helping her out, making sure to thank them once the job was completed. Looks like you can't always trust the headlines, especially when it comes to reality stars. Although she remained incredibly close to her mom throughout quarantine, Avery's dating life didn't suffer one bit. In fact, she did quite well during the lockdown, at least when it comes to love. On spilling the quarantine, she acknowledged that it was tough to find a balance with everything else going on, but she still made it work, noting, "I recently started to go on dates with 3 different guys right before quarantine. It's all about a small roster. I have code names for all of them." She explained that FaceTime ensured each guy got quality time with her, and if one wasn't available, she simply moved on to the next. 2 of the guys did turn out to be friends, however, which presumably complicated matters slightly. But Avery took it all in stride. She explained, "I think it's a great time to make those emotional connections. The guy that I talked to in the past, that I'm still talking to, I've now become friends with him, and even though we have nothing romantic at all, because of the timing, you have that foundation." Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more list videos about your favorite housewives' kids are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.